And it's time for me to die.
If you clicked on this video, you either love horror RPGs, isometric camera angles, or you're just here to emotionally unravel in pixelated agony. Either way, I've got you covered. These 10 picks, they don't just creep, but also mess with your head, your choices, and probably your sleep schedule. We're talking about slow burns, dread-soaked, beautifully twisted little nightmares that aren't for cheap thrills. Guess what's coming up? I'll give you a hint. Flesh. Lots of flesh. If that's your vibe, or you're just horror curious, smash that like button, and let's get started.
The message is clear. The Nox event is contained. I repeat, the Nox event is contained.
What happened here? What's happening here? It's not contained.
Project Zomboid. We're starting strong with a game where if the zombies cannot get to you, the cold, the hunger, and the isolation sure will. Developed by the Indie Stone, and lurking in early access since 2010, this isometric nightmare survival sim is a descent into dread-soaked mundanity. Set in Kentucky's eerily familiar towns of Muldraugh and West Point, the game follows a government quarantine protocol following a mysterious Nox infection outbreak. You're not a hero, guys, and you're not getting out alive. That might sound dramatic, but that's the game's premise. You scavenge, build, farm, fish, cook, fall into despair, slap together makeshift barricades, and maybe, just maybe, learn how to hotwire a car while malnourished and coughing blood. The AI hears you, sees you, and smells your last dumb decision. Real-time lighting and sound systems punish the careless, while survival mechanics go deep. Fevers, boredom, depression, illness, all wrapped in a slow, rotting spiral toward inevitable death. Local co-op? Absolutely. Modding? Knock yourself out. It's all here on PC, with full controller support, and a community that's as committed as your doomed character is desperate. Death becomes a cautionary tale here, every run a tragic mini-drama, and when the lights go out, they really go out.
Doomsday. That was naught but a story for children, a gruesome fairy tale, until it befell us. We dwell under alien skies now.
Stygian reign of the old ones. Next up, things get unspeakably weird. Developed by Cultic Games and released in 2019, this isometric descent into cosmic horror doesn't waste time with optimism. In Stygian reign of the old ones, the world is already doomed. Your job is to navigate the wreckage of sanity, not save it. After Arkham is yanked into an otherworldly abyss, you'll build your character from vintage 1920s archetypes, and then set off through a gorgeous hand-drawn wasteland riddled with madness, cults, and creatures that whisper in languages best left untranslated. Choices matter here, not in a binary good or evil way, but in a how quickly will your mind unravel. Sanity is a stat. Mental illness changes dialogue. Your belief system alters your perception of reality itself. Magic is powerful, but might just cost your limbs, your memories, or your soul. The turn-based combat is classic, strategic, and unforgiving, with spells that are as dangerous to you as your enemies. Platform-wise, it's PC only, fitting for a game that feels like the ghost of classic CRPGs with a darker twist. If Fallout met Lovecraft in a dimly lit alley and exchanged forbidden tomes, this is what you'd get. Signalis. Moving along the horror highway, this game takes place at a quiet, snow-covered planet where silence is anything but peaceful. Released in 2022 by Rose Engine, a two-person indie team that basically injected existential dread into every pixel. Signalis is a haunting sci-fi survival horror RPG with strong isometric flavor and a deep psychological bite. Set in a cold, decaying future ruled by the authoritarian Yusan regime, the game follows Elster, a replica technician who awakens alone in a crashed ship. Her only compass, a half-remembered promise, and a desperate need to find someone she might have once loved. The gameplay is a nod to the golden age of horror classics. Tight inventory management, maze-like exploration, locked doors with cryptic puzzles, and a slow drip feed of tension that never lets up. Ammunition is rare, enemies are grotesque, and every room you enter feels like a coin toss between revelation and ruin. It's available on PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. And on all of them, it's a symphony of dread, marrying retro tech design with fluid 3D animation, eerie soundscapes, and stark storytelling influenced by Kubrick, Anno, and Lynch.
See my sister.
Demons from the past. Or set you free.
Sanitarium. Now let's get into a game that's pretty much a relic from the late 90s that still manages to burrow into your brain like a guilt-soaked fever dream. Developed by Dreamforge Entertainment and published by ASC Games in 1998, Sanitarium was way ahead of its time in both storytelling and sheer psychological disturbance. Originally for Windows and later ported to iOS and Android, it's a point-and-click horror RPG which is still talked about. You play as Max, well, eventually. After a car crash, your bandaged protagonist wakes up in a crumbling asylum with zero memory, and that's just the tutorial. What follows is a surreal journey across fractured realities. A grotesque town full of mutated children, a haunted circus surrounded by endless water, an Aztec apocalypse brought on by Quetzalcoatl, and an alien insect hive. The chapters reshape Max's identity and sanity, but always drags him back to the asylum, where the truth slowly leaks out like blood through gauze. Gameplay is viewed from an isometric perspective, obviously, rich in eerie, pre-rendered environments. You'll solve puzzles, piece together cryptic memories, and tiptoe through unsettling dialogues where nothing feels stable, not even your own identity. Max's journey is one of guilt, redemption, and biotech conspiracies. And yes, it ends with justice, a baby, and a coma escape.
My name is not important. What is important is what I'm going to do. I just fucking hate this world.
Hatred. Next, we dive into a title so unapologetically bleak, it makes most horror games feel like tea parties. Yep. We're talking about Hatred, the isometric shooter soaked in controversy and nihilism. Released in 2015 by Polish developer Destructive Creations, this game pits you against monsters or cosmic threats. Hatred flips the perspective. You are the monster. You play an unnamed man, clad in black, fueled by misanthropy and dead set on one mission: to wipe out humanity. No redemption arc, no tragic backstory, just a raw descent into chaos as you massacre civilians and engage in firefights with increasingly aggressive law enforcement. The game's plot, if you can call it that, is a manifesto of misanthropic rage. Gameplay-wise, it's a twin-stick shooter with destructible environments, tactical use of cover, and brutal execution mechanics that serve to replenish your health. You'll manage weapons, ammo, and your positioning carefully as the difficulty ramps up and SWAT teams descend. Available on PC, the game was banned or age-restricted in multiple regions due to its extreme violence and lack of moral framing. It's not for the faint of heart or the easily offended, but it's undeniably unique in its relentless commitment to its theme. Death Trash. Released in early access in 2021 by developer Crafting Legend, Death Trash is what you get when cosmic horror crashes a Mad Max rave and everyone's vomiting pixels. Set on the planet Nexus, once a hopeful human colony, now infested with ancient fleshy beings and malfunctioning machines, you play as an outcast exiled from civilization, and you've got secrets no one wants and a burden you probably shouldn't carry. The game gives us old-school CRPG vibes with real-time fight, tight twin-stick controls, and a stomach-churning setting. We get to shoot, stab, puke, stealth, and sweet-talk our way through a handcrafted post-apocalyptic world where every choice leaves a stain, literally. Now coming to the gameplay, which includes stat-based character building, skills like pickpocketing, or puking for crowd control, and an inventory full of items and meat-based loot. You can complete quests peacefully, or kill everything and everyone, including a sympathetic flesh kraken that just wants to chat. Death Trash runs on PC and offers a surprisingly robust local co-op campaign with drop-in-out support, individual character inventories, and even a split-screen option. Online play? Not yet, but Steam Remote Play Together fills the gap. Darkwood. Developed by Acid Wizard Studio and launched in 2014 after a terrifyingly promising early access period, Darkwood is a top-down survival horror RPG that redefines dread without leaning on cheap jump scares. Now this one's an intimate horror, and it gets under your skin like a splinter made of shadow. You're dumped into a forest no compass can save you from. By day, you scavenge, craft, and explore its procedurally generated terrain. No quest markers, no hand-holding, just instincts and eerie noises. At night, the real fear begins. You retreat to your hideout, barricade the doors, place traps, and brace yourself for unspeakable things scratching at the walls, or worse, inside them. Injecting strange essences into your body lets you unlock perks, but not without unsettling consequences. You'll meet NPCs who are as unreliable as they are disturbing, and your choices will shape the world in subtle, deeply creepy ways. Available on PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. Darkwood proves that atmosphere and design can be far scarier than monsters alone. No minimap, no mercy, just you, a lantern, and the whispering trees.
Spies, no. Gorky 17 housed military experiments. 1 year ago, the Soviets bombed it off the face of the Earth. No one knows why.
If no one knows, why do we care?
Gorky 17, Odium. Let's switch things up with some old-school Eastern European paranoia, shall we? So this one was originally released in 1999 under the name Gorky 17, and also known as Odium in North America. This cult isometric horror RPG comes courtesy of Polish developer Metropolis Software. It mashes turn-based tactics, deep dialogue choices, and a hefty dose of mid-90s military science fiction weirdness into one gloriously unsettling experience. Set in a post-Cold War dystopia, the story kicks off in November 2008 when NATO gets word that the Russians nuked their own secret city, Gorky 17. Naturally, someone has to poke the radioactive bear. Enter Cole Sullivan and his NATO squad, deployed to a sealed-off zone, crawling with mutated horrors, deformed experiments, and secrets the Cold War forgot to bury. Gameplay-wise, you're looking at a grid-based tactical combat system that's accessible but tough. Positioning, weapon types, and strategic use of cover all matter. When not in combat, you explore fixed 3D environments, interact with NPCs through branching dialogue, and uncover just how deep the bioengineered rabbit hole goes. It's available on PC, and it holds up surprisingly well thanks to its dark, brooding atmosphere, haunting soundtrack, and hybrid gameplay that doesn't pull punches.
Science.
There's moving in there. It's alive. God forgive us.
Get out! Kill them now!
Kill me! Take me!
Fire cleanses.
Stasis. Our next isometric sci-fi horror adventure takes the classic point-and-click formula and drenches it in fear, blood, and desperation. Released in 2015 after a successful Kickstarter campaign, Stasis is the brainchild of Christopher Bischoff and his tiny, relentless indie team. You wake up as John Marachek aboard the Groom Lake, a derelict research vessel circling Neptune, only to discover that your wife and daughter are missing, and the ship's corridors are packed with death, despair, and the kind of experiments that make you wish you'd never opened a door. Gameplay will have you wrapped around solving puzzles, combining inventory items, hacking into terminals, and navigating grotesquely detailed environments. The art is stunning. Every isometric scene is handcrafted with an eye for claustrophobic terror. And when John dies, and he will, the game doesn't shy away from showing the most horrific outcomes. The soundtrack by Mark Morgan, yes, Fallout's legend, pushes the tension to 11. Stasis is available on PC, Mac, and Linux, offering a chilling, story-driven experience that lingers long after you close the hatch. Dead State Reanimated. Moving on to our last pick on the list, this game is all about hard choices, tougher consequences, and a whole lot of improvised survival. Released in 2015 for PC, this is a tactical, turn-based survival RPG, where the real threat isn't always the walking corpses, but the people standing next to you with empty stomachs and frayed nerves. Developed by Double Bear Productions, this reworked edition polished the original with new mechanics, AI fixes, and plenty of much-needed tension tweaks. So what's it about? Well, the game is set in central Texas during the early days of a zombie outbreak, where you play as the de facto leader of a ragtag group holed up in a school-turned-shelter. Your job? Almost everything. You have to assign tasks, build defenses, make sure morale doesn't implode, and decide whether diplomacy or brute force works best when meeting other survivor factions. I know, serious business. Gameplay here swings between shelter management and nerve-wracking scavenging. The turn-based combat is slow, brutal, and completely unforgiving. One wrong move can cost lives. Plus, the writing leans into realism, with dialogue that evolves based on who's alive, what they think of you, and how close they are to losing it completely. Still with me? That either means none of these games fazed you, or one of them hit way too close, and now you're just quietly processing it. Either way, respect. Every game in today's video has its own way of getting under your skin, some through atmosphere, others through choices you didn't think twice about until it was way too late. So which one stuck with you, or did I leave something out that deserves a spot on this list? Hit the comments and let's hear your top 3 underrated horror suggestions. And hey, if you found even one game here that made you think, yep, I need that right away, give the video a like. Don't forget to subscribe if you're into games that are just a little off, a little broken, or a little brilliant. There's more like this coming, and trust me, you won't want to miss them.
To protect the innocent and the weak, I call them human shields.